got to start the daf. Okay. What time did he say mincha was? 5 after, right? Okay, so fine. We're second line down from Nun Amud Aleph. Nun Aleph Amud Aleph. Yeah, so the Gemara says again, we're discussing how do you go paying the girls. Our father, we said, does not have to support his girls when he's alive, but after they're dead, they get money. They get supported. So we had a whole diyun yesterday whether they get supported from karka or from metaltal. So hahu yasam v'yisayma. There was a yasam and a yisayma. The asul kamei the Rava. They came in front of Rava. Amalu Rava. So Rava said to them, "Helu liyasam b'shvil yisayma." What you should do is give extra money and food to the yasam, and then he'll give it to the yisayma. Meaning he'll give it to his sister. Meaning we have a whole issue to give the sisters, to give the and or daughters. So just give to the brothers, and then the brothers will give the leftovers to the sisters.
We trust him that he's going to give it to her?
Do we trust him?
I'm just saying, people fight over these things. I'm saying we trust him that he's going to.
This is the case. This is where we're going to trust him.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to trust him for that. You only give the girls from karka, not from metaltalin. Whether it's to feed them, whether it's for the kesuba, or whether it's parnasa, which is we touch parnasa as the nadin, the dowry, right? All of those only come from karka. So how are you giving extra to the brother to give to the sister? Let's say the boy decided that he needs a cleaning lady to help him out. Would we not give him a cleaning lady? Here you have two. She's doing two things. It's one, it's his sister. Two, she's going to help him out. She's going to help him clean. So since you would give the boy money for a cleaning lady, you might as well give him extra money to give his sister too. She's no worse than a cleaning lady, right? These Gemaras are not very good for the women's liberation situation, right?
Yeah, but somehow nowadays they do the daf, so they have to accept it, right?
I guess, but it's hard. It's hard to understand these Gemaras. It's hard to understand. Yeah, fine. So Tana Rabbanon. So Rabbanon said, "So echon nechasim sheyesh lan achrayis." Whether you have nechasim that have achrayis, normally nechasim that have achrayis is that there's responsibility, meaning that you could put a lien on it. You put a lien on a property, right? And whether they have achrayis or they don't have achrayis, mitzion lemazon isha lebanos, we could take the money for the wife and for the kids. Divrei Rebbe. So Rebbe obviously holds that you are allowed to take money for the daughters from metaltalin. Metaltalin is usually no achrayis, because let's say you have a watch, so the guy could get rid of the watch in a second. Nobody's giving loans based on watches, I guess. Pawn shops are, but most things that have achrayis are karka, because it can't run anywhere. You have a deed to the karka, you owe the guy money, the guy can go, knows he has a guarantee that he has the karka, right? So, but Rebbe's opinion is that you can give both. You can give from either one. So nechasim that have achrayis, you give to the daughters from, meaning from the sons, meaning you take the sons have to give. We said the sons have to support the sisters. And you have daughters that have to also help other daughters, meaning if there's only girls, so they have to separate. They all yashin it, and they all have to separate it equally, right? So if the older daughters, or either one, the younger daughters, if some of the daughters go and take their own share, too large a share, we take it from them and we split it evenly. And then we're going to take it also from sons to other sons. If some sons take more money than they're supposed to, so then they also have to take the money. And and we take the money from the daughters when there's a big inheritance. But we don't take money for the daughters to give to the sons when there's not so much when there's not so much property that went out or Yerusha. The chasim that don't have any achrayas, you do take it from the boys, and you give it to the other boys if they didn't separate it equally. And to the daughters to give to the other daughters. And from the you give from the sons, you give to the daughters. But not from the daughters to the sons. Right? Meaning, so when it's the chasim that don't have achrayas, we don't give it to them. Avagav the kaimelan halacha karevi mechaver. Even though we hold that the halacha is always like Rebbe, here the halacha is like Shimon and Elazar, that we do not take money from some kids to the other kids from the chasim that don't have that have achrayas, that don't have achrayas. We only take away the karka, we don't take the metaltali. Bein l'ksuba, bein l'mezayne, bein l'parnasa. Whether it's for ksuba, whether it's for food, whether it's parnasa, doesn't make a difference. The halacha is that, according to the Gemara at least, the halacha is that we only take from karka and split up the karka. We don't take from the metaltali. Right? But in Shulchan Aruch Lamaisa, Shulchan Aruch says that you do. It seems like it became the minig that you would split metaltal and also you don't just split karka. How exactly that went down, if the Gemara here clearly says that you only split both, you don't split both, you only split karka, is already a whole history thing, exactly how that works. Yeah, but that's the Gemara. The Gemara comes out that they can only split karka, not metaltal. Fine. Okay, so Zog the Mishnah. Like Kosovo Ksuba, if he did not write in the Ksuba, Pesula Goiva Masayim, that the Pesula gets 200, Ba'amana Mana, and Mana gets 100, Meshu Tanai Bezdin, it's still a Tanai Bezdin, meaning let's say he didn't write a Ksuba, right? He didn't write a Ksuba. Now,
he didn't write a ksuba at all. So they went they got married and under the chuppah, nobody noticed that there was no ksuba.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I don't know if it was a mistake.
Oh, maybe he didn't give her a ksuba.
He gave her Yankee tickets, David.
Listen, right now they're on a winning streak, so it's a good deal.
That's right. So he gave her Yankee tickets, no?
Maybe he didn't give her a ksuba at all.
Legends. He gave her Legends 2 Legend tickets.
So I'm saying he didn't give her a ksuba. Is she married if she doesn't have a ksuba?
That's what the Mishna says.
Me'ikar adin. 1 second. Me'ikar adin. Now we need some akdama. Me'ikar adin. A woman doesn't need a ksuba. What does a ksuba have to do with marriage? The Chachamim made a takana according to most. Some old ksubas deraisa, but we'll see that. But most hold that ksuba is a derabbanan, and the reason why the Chachamim were misakin it is because otherwise these men would go get married to a woman for a day or two, use them, and then just divorce them. So Chachamim made a takana that you got to give them 200 to a psula. It's got to be 200 and almana, whatever that amount is, so that they won't just divorce them. That's what it is. So the question is, how strong was this takana to say that even if he didn't write a kesuba, it's as if there's already a kesuba, right? That's the shiloh. So the Mishnah here is saying that it was so strong. It's so strong that you have to know that even if it wasn't in there, it's considered as if he made the time and he has to pay her. Right? So that's what it's saying. Loy kosa look, so we didn't write her ksuba, psula goyva masayim, v'amana mana, neshu t'nai bezdin, because it's a t'nai bezdin. Bezdin made a t'nai that if you're getting married, it has to. This is an automatic.
How do you prove it?
How do you prove what?
How do you prove to get the money? I mean, the ksuba is basically a star saying if you get divorced, then you owe me this, or you have certain chiyuvim to me. Right? The ksuba is
there's
if
no
somebody
way,
gets.
There's no way to prove it.
So what does it mean? It's a Tanai Bezin.
No,
to prove what?
What?
We had a whole parak about proving it. Yotze behinuma, all of that.
No, he's trying to prove that whether he paid the ksuba, he didn't pay the ksuba. Meaning, if there's no ksuba, he's saying that a lady could come to Bezdin, after he paid and say, "Bastama,
Give me
Oh,
200.
lahadam? He's
Yeah,
gonna say
you owe me-
lahadam?
Yeah, you owe me
there'll be a
200.
receipt."
Okay, that's his Gemara Baba Kama. We'll
What?
get there. That's Gemara Baba Kama. We'll get there.
Yeah, okay, but that's regular Shtora stuff. But anyway, so but the point is that even if the guy says, "No, I never wrote her a kesuba," well, you still owe the money because that's a T'nai Bezdin. Right? Kosav lasada shavim mana tachas masayim zuz. Let's say he wrote her, "I'm going to give you a field," but it was only worth 100 instead of 200. The loy kosav la kol nechasim disli achrayin l'ksubase. All my nechasim that I have are going to go to you as a ksuba. Chayev shu T'nai Bezdin. He's chayev because that's also T'nai Bezdin. Meaning basically, even if he wrote a ksuba, but he's missing words, T'nai Bezdin. Loy kosav la im tishtavoy afarkinach. We don't put this in our ksubas anymore. I wonder historically when that happened also, right? That if he didn't write in the ksuba that if you get captured, I'm going to redeem you. I'm going to take you back as a wife. Where unfortunately, if she gets taken and she gets raped, she's not allowed to come back as a wife. I'm going to return you to your city. He's going to pay. He's going to return it to the city. Chayev shu T'nai Bezdin. Even if he forgot to put that in, he's still chayev to redeem his wife because it's T'nai Bezdin. Nishbis chayev l'ftoisa. If she gets captured, he's mechuyev to redeem her. Vim amar harei gita uksubasa v'tiftes atzma.
If this,
Let's see. What do you say?
if this wife of his, he'd married a grusha, and she got captured, does he have to? Does he have to pay to get her back, or does she go back to him?
Right. So that's going to be. Well, that's going to be tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's daf.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if he says to her, "This is your get. Here's a get. Here's your kesuba. Here now you have money. Redeem yourself." This guy ain't getting the husband of the year award, right? But it sure is practical. Right? He says, "Okay, I'm just divorcing you. Take your money and take care of yourself." Ein Rishai is not allowed to do that, right? Because he was already chayav to be paid to her before he gave the get.
Meaning, what does he have to do? He gave her the money, so
no, he's mechuyev to redeem her because that happened first before the get.
Okay.
Right? We'll see that also tomorrow's daf. Loksa chayav the refuasa. If she gets sick, he's chayiv to pay for her to be healed. Amar regito ksubasa terapes atma. Here's your get. Here's the money for the ksuba. Take care of yourself. Rashai, that he is allowed to do. Right? And what's a shot in that? What's the difference? So Rashi says it's paying for her medical bills is the same as paying for her food. And since he's not mechuyev to feed his wife after divorce, therefore, if he divorced her, he's not mechuyev to pay for her medical bills. Even though if the medical issue started before they got divorced, then he should be chayiv, right? No, meaning if she got sick after they got divorced, okay, we understand he doesn't have to pay for it, right? But let's say she got the machla. But then he divorces her and says, here's your money, pay for your own medical bills. Why is he allowed to do that? The machla started before he was meshuvah, right? So I mean, so Tosfos on Amud Beis, two blot from now, yeah. And so Tosfos basically the way he says it on Nun Beis Amud Beis is that it's sort of like if I get to keep your belonging, your work, your ma'aseh yodeh, so then I have to pay for your food. But once she gets divorced, then that's no longer so. Okay,
Yeah,
whatever
but
it is, it's a technical thing why it doesn't work. But again, the Mishna is saying that if he has to redeem her, he's not allowed to divorce her and give her money and say redeem yourself. But if she's sick, he has to pay for that. But he could divorce her and give her money and say, okay, now take care of your own medical bills. Fine. So Zogdi Gemara, money. Who's the time of the Mishnah? R Meir, it's R Meir. The Amar Kol HaPoiches L'Psula Mimasayim L'Amana Mimana. Anybody who puts in the kesuba less than 200 for the psula, and the amana 100, or is a bilas nus. That's a bilas nus, meaning that's a very strong statement. How are you saying that's a bilas nus? The whole kesuba is a derabana, right?
What do you mean? The living bit, according to Rameh, the living bits?
Yeah, but I'm saying, but the rabbanim are saying that it's a bilas nus.
Because it's Isser.
Because he didn't, this goes with, even we're going to see this weiter. This means even if she agrees to it, it's still a bilas nus, because he's not doing it properly.
Because the right framework of getting married is with a psuba. Since you didn't do it, it's
Correct.
like as if you took a lady from the shuk.
But he didn't. He did all the marriage. He just didn't write a kesuba.
But that's part of the marriage. It's like I did half
That's what
the
you have
marriage.
to say.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's Rameir says it's a bilas nos. Di Rabbi Yehuda, because it's Rabbi Yehuda. Hamar Ratza Kaisel Psula Shtar Shamasayim. If a person wants, he could write for the kesuba 200. He kaseves it's gabaltim in kamana, and she could write that I got a mana from you. Meaning, if you want to do a shtick, and I don't know what kind of romance this is exactly, but he doesn't want to write a kesuba for 200. So he does a shtick. He writes in the kesuba, I'll give you 200. Then she writes a shtar back to him that said, you already paid me 100. And that's a way for him to get out from it. Right? So then that's okay. And you could do an almana mana because services kabati mishum zuz. I was makabel 50 zuz. Right? So that's what Yehuda says you could do. R Meir obviously holds you can't do that. So the Tana of our Mishna has to be R Meir. Now again, we've discussed this in Yevamis, but it does come up where a girl knows that she's not a basula. Let's say a girl who's not a basula. Right? So she has to tell her chassin that she's not a basula. We're talking about a ba'ula, not a mukaseitz or whatever it is. So she has to tell her chassin that she was once together with a guy. Otherwise it's a mekach tois. Question is, what do you put in the kesuba now? You're not going to write in the kesuba that she's a ba'ula or whatever lashon that you use because it's embarrassing. Right?
I never understood why can't they just read as psula.
Right. So why can't you just say it as so? Why I know I never understood that either. But a lot of times what we do is the opposite. We do the opposite, where she says, "I know I'm supposed to get 100," and he says, "I'm Michael. I'll just write in the kesuba 200, and then that's fine." Right? That's the opposite of this Gemara. This Gemara, she's saying, "I'll write to you that I got 100, even though I didn't." Okay. Either way. So the Tana of the Mishnah can't be Rav Yehuda, it's going to be Rava. But the Seifa, if he wrote to her a sada that's worth 100 instead of 200, and he didn't write in the ksuba, everything that I have is going to go to you. If I don't have money, so chayiv shoot Tanai Bezdin. He's chayiv because it's Tanai Bezdin, right? So who's that like? A son of Rabbi Yehuda, that has to be like Rabbi Yehuda, because there's another machlokes. It's Damar Achrayas Toy Seifru. If somebody forgot to put Achrayas, that he's taking responsibility for the property, that it's legitimate, then if he forgot to write that, it's just a Toy Seifer, and it still has Achrayas. Dira Meir, Amar Achrayas Lav Toy Seifru. He says that if a Seifer forgot to put responsibility in the shtar, doesn't work. If a guy found the shtar chayv, right now, what happens if you find the shtar chayv, an IOU, in the street? Do you give it back? Do you not give it back? It could be if the lender dropped it, you're going to cost him a lot of money because he was already paid back, right? And he should have, and that's why he got back the shtar. And if you don't give it back, so then the borrower might end up getting away with something. So what do you do with it? So matzah shtari chayv. So antom beis now. Yesh ben achrayas nechasim. If it says in the shtar that there's achrayas of nechasim of land, lo yachzer, don't give it back. Shebezdin b'frei man, because Bezdin will be able to take the bake, the whatever to collect from this guy. But ain't ben achrayis the chasam. But if there's no achrayis written in the star, it just says I owe somebody money. Yachzer, give it back, right? Give it to the lender. Why? Shein Bezdin b'frei man, because Bezdin will not be able to collect on it if there's no achrayis in the star. Divrei Meir. So you see, R Meir holds that if there's no achrayis written in the star, then the star is still valid, right? Both of these you can't give back. Bezdin Nefrain man, because Bezdin can take it from them. Why can Bezdin take it from them? Because we say that if a star does not have achrayis written in it, it still has achrayis. So Reisha R Meir, the Sefer Rav Yehuda. So in our Mishna, I was saying the Reisha has to be R Meir, and the Sefer has to be Rav Yehuda. So meaning the Gemara doesn't like to do that. With one line is one tan and one line is another tan. And if you're going to say that the whole Mishnah is going according to R Meir, and R Meir, it makes a difference between a kesuba and a star, right? Meaning a kesuba has, if this is considered a mistake if there's no achrayis written in it, but a star not. Is there a difference? Vatanya. There are 5 things that you're allowed to collect from properties that were not, where mechurara means that they were never, there's no lien on them, right? They're lien free, right? So there's 5 things you can collect from. These are the peiros, right? Regular fruits, shvach peiros and shvach peiros. Now, what's that case? That case is if a guy bought a field from somebody and he lived on the field, very happily for 6 months. 6 months just a mushal. And then a guy comes and says, by the way, the guy stole the field from me and he sold you a bag of nothing, bag of air. So now the guy says, but I've been living here for 6 months. So is he responsible or not? So he is responsible. So he has to get back from the guy who sold it for whatever it is. If you put money into it, etc., he's entitled to it back. So that's what shvach peiros is. So that goes to him. But makabel loves lazanas ben ishtay bas ishtay, and somebody who accepted on himself to feed his wife's kids. So that also it can come from land that doesn't have any liens on it. The get chayiv she'ein by achrayis. Get here does not mean a divorce. For some reason, sometimes the Gemara uses the terminology of get as a shtar. The get chayiv she'ein by achrayis. Uksubas isha she'ein by achrayis, and the ksuba of an isha doesn't have achrayis. So you see right here from this, according to this brisa, that there's such a thing as a ksuba that has no achrayis. Man shamalei domer achrayis lav toy seferu. And who's the one that says that achrayis is not a toy sefer? R Meir. It's R Meir. V'katani ksubas isha, and we learn that's ksubas isha. So you see, you can't say that R Meir differentiates between a regular star and a kesuba. So Iba is saying R Meir, Iba is saying Rabbi Yehuda. You could say it's R Meir, you could say it's Rabbi Yehuda. Iba is saying Rabbi Yehuda Hasam Kasvela Hiskabalt. There, she wrote that I was makabel. So if she says I was makabel money, that means she's giving up on her rights to collect. Here, she didn't write the words Hiskabalti. So since she didn't write Hiskabalti, therefore Rabbi Yehuda's maida that she can still collect the whole part of the shtar. In Iba say R Meir, or you could say it's all R Meir. My chayiv to Katani. When we say that he's chayiv min ha-mechurar, and he's only chayiv to give from fields that don't have liens on them, but fields that do have liens on them that you don't have to. Right? So maybe that is the karka that he's giving over to the kesuba. Okay, that's the harder part of the daf. Now we get into the more interesting, again, mamish, one of the strongest anti-feminist Gemaras you could possibly get is this next line of the Gemara. Right? So the Gemara says that if he didn't write to his wife that he's going to redeem her, he still has to redeem her. So Amar Avu the Shmuel says, now normally we know, normally we know that a woman is raped, she's allowed to stay with her husband because it was by force. Avu the Shmuel comes up with a big chiddush. Eishes Yisrael Shenetza, a wife of a Yisrael that was raped, Asura lebaylo, she's also to her husband. Why? Because we're afraid that in the beginning Taka was forced, but then in the middle she enjoyed it. Right? I know there's a big tumult out there with the feminists that because some people say, oh, that's what happens by a rape. Amud the Shmuel is saying this.
But
Right?
that's
So
a shema. That's
what?
a shema. That's a shema.
He says Chashinon Shema Tchilas Abayis.
So it's maybe. Why are we assuming she's usher if there's a shema here? She was bari raped, and the shema maybe she's consenting.
Correct. So the bottom Taisus says, here says, even though he just says the word Chashinon, Taisus says even though he says Chashinon where it's a concern, mashma. That's his mashma the deraisa kommer. Because if it's a derabanan, then we would. If it was only derabanan, we would not make her get divorced.
Right. So what?
The way Tosis learns the Gemara, it's mamasha is a deraisa to stay married to his wife, even though she was raped.
Why?
Because he's afraid that she did it baratza.
That's maybe, but there's a bari that she was raped.
That makes it a suffix deraisa. Suffix deraisa l'chumra usually.
That's the way Tosis is learning it. Yeah.
Something deraisa.
Yeah. Tosis is learning the Tosis. Tosis is saying that it's a chashash deraisa.
That what?
That she enjoyed the rape.
How are you going to prove that? How are you going to?
You can't prove it. It's a chashash deraisa. I am not saying I understand this.
Oh, what's the issue? Asal abayil is an issa deraisa. If it's vadai, right?
It's not vadai. Who says vadai?
So it's a suffix deraisa.
He's saying there's a chance that we're chayshit that she enjoyed it. If on the chance that she enjoyed it, the game is over. Right?
I don't understand. Can you explain me the something?
Zev Amud Shmuel had a hard time on Purim, but we're not by Purim yet. He had a hard Purim.
It's a hard.
Why is it Gershon? Why is it a suffix?
Amud Shmuel says this, she was raped. Yeah, so he says it's a suffix. She could be she enjoyed.
Why is that a suffix? Why is there a suffix there?
Why not?
Because the Metzias says
Because
like
maybe
that.
it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
it
a
does
possibility.
Is it a 50%? Is it 10%? I don't know.
Doesn't matter what it is. It's not a raiv. It's a suffix.
I don't know. It's a hard to understand. Now, then of course, Taisus, the second Taisus on the bottom says, "Oh, and what about Esther?"
That's what I just said.
She was karka oilam. The Taisus says
No,
it already.
Taisus doesn't say that. Taisus doesn't say that. No, it's Esther. No, karka oilam is when Esther went willingly. What about Esther before? Right, the Gemara in Megillah and Sanhedrin asks about Esther once she went willingly when Mordechai sent her, then she became Asa. Before that, she would not have been Asa. She was raped by Achashverosh. So how come the whole shaila from the Gemara? That's what Taisus asked. How come that whole shaila from the Gemara is only when she went willingly? According to Amud the Shmuel, should be Asa even when she was raped. So Taisus gives a wild answer, right? Taisus says she's a tzadekis gemura.
So what? So what?
I don't know. I'm asking. So she was a tzadekis.
Does that mean she didn't have any hana?
Well,
that's what
can I ask?
That's what we're saying. She was a tzadekis, so she didn't have hana.
But why would if she didn't? I'm not going to get into it because of it says them. I'll have to talk very carefully. But why did the guy take her back from all the ladies? If she was karka oilam or she didn't enjoy anything, why would he take her back?
Yeah, that's a kasha. Yeah. So, but okay, Toys is saying she was a tzadekis gemura, therefore she would never have enjoyed it. I understand she's not a human. That's basically I'm saying she's not a human.
I used to say the same thing in Megillah when he asked from Yael.
She was a gerech sister.
Maybe. You mean they're a riot to this? Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, okay. But that's Taisus Teretz. So Gemara asks immediately on. I mean, that there's obvious kasha on Avu the Shmuel. How do you have in the Torah? The Torah allows a woman that's raped to go back to her husband, right? He has to explain that Gemara, right? So Eisvei Rav Lavu de Shmuel Imtish Tavoy Afarkinach Vaskinach Lila into. It says you're supposed to write it the kesuba that if you get captured, I'm going to redeem you and you're going to be my wife. What do you mean? How can that possibly be? You have to be choshed that she was raped and she enjoyed it. Say Ishtik, he was quiet. Abu Shmuel was quiet. So Kari Rava laid Abu Shmuel. Rav said about Abu Shmuel, Sarim Atru B'milim, like officers hold back their words, the kaf yasimu lefiyim, and they put their hand on their mouth, meaning they don't talk. They just don't talk. So my Isla Lamema. So what should he have said? But this is talking about Avuda Shmuel is talking about by a rape. But by Shvuya, there he's maker. Why? Because Shvuya, you have no idea if she was raped in the first place. Right? Meaning this is talking about where you know she was raped. By Shvuya, you don't know that she was even raped. Which again, Zev, I can't say I understand. So what's a svek sveka? Is that what this is? Suffolk if she was even raped, and if she was raped, maybe she didn't get hana. She didn't enjoy it. Or she, right? It's a svek sveka. I'm not sure what the lumdus is. Fine. What about the Einis in the Torah? So going the Ka'amri Eidim Shitzavavs Metchila Bat Saif. We're talking, there were Eidim there. The Torah's case, which is also wild, the Torah's case that says she can go back to her husband is a scenario where she yelled from the beginning till the end. So there was no way she could have possibly had hana from it. Fine. But Pliga the Rava and Avu the Shmuel, this whole thing is disagreeing with Rava.
So Adim hearing things is enough? That's not real Adis, right?
Adim hearing things. They hear this lady screaming. Then it gets quiet. She comes running outside and she says, "This guy just raped me."
That's what I'm saying. So hearing, they're not in the room, and they just hear. That's enough. We believe that's enough.
I guess so. Yeah.
Or at least for this case, it is.
Correct. Yeah, but it's not real Adus. This is just to prove that she didn't enjoy it. Right. Yeah.
Well, which is either answering her or mattering her to her husband.
Correct.
So I'm saying it's close to real Adus almost.
Yeah, that's true. But it's a little different type of Adus. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Upliga the Rava disagrees with Rava. Anything that's in the beginning is an einus, and in the end it's beratzon. Even if in the middle of the rape she says, "Leave him alone." If it wouldn't be that, even if he would stop, I would rent him out. Still, meaning she's enjoying it. So she would say, I want him to continue. Still muteris. My timer, Yetzer Albasha, because the Yetzer Hara made her, because in the middle of the Maisa, she got so turned on, she couldn't control herself. Right? So therefore, that's still considered a Einus. Meaning, so as long as it's Chilasa Ba'Einus Saifa Baratzim, you're fine. So, I mean, this has some application.
Any time when the Yetzirah chaps a person is.
Yeah, so that's one Chiddush number one that you see from this. Again, we had this a few times. Yishver is not on anymore, but I mean, from this it's mashma that addiction, that there's such a thing as addiction. That's ha'ara number one, right?
Allah,
no control. We said this Gemara in Chagiga. We said in Chagiga there were rayas. From this Gemara, it's mashma, there's such a thing as addiction. You're at the point where you can't say no anymore. You can't. That's A. That's A. B is that this could be Nageya. Let's say a guy never has to eat on Yom Kippur. So you're going to give him shiurim. He says, okay, I'm going to have a cold soda with my 1.1 ounce. And then he's really not happy about taking it on Yom Kippur. He's Lachiyit. But when it goes down, he says, this is Gishmak, right? Is he liable now or not? No, according to Rava, he's not. He's not liable. The whole medication was taken because of Einus. Yeah, I didn't have time to look into this. I'm going to look B'li Neder over Shabbos. If we want to have a war about this much of Shabbos, we can sure maybe we'll put on the boxing. We'll put on the boxing gloves and we'll get rolling. But I have to look at it. But that's what it sounds like from this Gemara. Fine. Tani Kasei the Rava. It's another thing. Vacations, right? So you're an Einis. You missed the minyan because the minyan, you're 20 minutes away from the closest minyan. So me'ikara din you potter from minyan. And so really you're an Einis, but halfway through the davening, when you realize you're davening for 10 minutes and you're almost done, you're like, this is a pretty gishmak. Right? So that
okay, you talking this the Rabbanan. This is not the
I'm just saying, Mashalom, where you had a het at the beginning, and then you say, hey, this is a pretty gishmak. Right?
This is also a little bit different. This is, on Pipashtus, Rava is saying that this whole matzav is so disgusting, it makes no sense rationally that she could possibly be enjoying it. So Mamela, you have to say Yetzer Aldashim. There's no other way. It can't be that she's enjoying
this.
1 second. Well, can it be that part of the enjoyment is that now it's you have the heter?
She doesn't have a heter now.
What?
She doesn't have.
No,
I'm
saying with your examples, you're davening with it without a minyan when you're 20 minutes away. Part of the enjoyment is that you don't have to go to the minyan.
True.
That's part of the
I don't enjoy not going to minyan.
Okay. Most people aren't like you. Let's go with that rule.
Let's finish the block. Let's finish.
Man, I love it. I love it. Reb Zev, you got anything to say, Reb Zev? You got anything to say? You did it already earlier this morning. Reb Zev, you got to the minion. What happened? You're chavrusi, you davening with him?
Let's go. Tanya Kava say the Rava, but he learned this pasa. If she wasn't forced, right? The pasuk says if she wasn't forced, Asura, she's also her husband, Hannis pasa, Muteris mashma. If she was forced, she's mutter. And then you have another type of lady. Shava Bishaloinis pasa. Even though she wasn't forced, Muteris, she's mutter. Even though there's another type of lady that at the end she was baratzan, but in the beginning she was ba'inus. So she's okay. So we have a brisa like Rava. Tanya Ida, we have another brisa. If he learned this pasa, she was not forced. Asura, Handis pasa, Muteris, mashma she was forced. She's mutter. And then there's another type of lady, Shava Bishinis pasa. Even though she was forced, Asura, she's still Asur Be'ezu, Zu Eishes Kayin, right? As we know, Eishes Kayin's Asur even if she was raped. Fine. Amar Yudam Shmuel Mishmar Bishmal. He learned this pasa. She was not forced. Asura, she's Asur. Handis pasa Muteris. She was forced, she's mutter. V'yesh la'acheres, Shava Bishalaynis pasa Muteris. Even though she wasn't forced, she's mutter. Ve'ezu, who's that? She Kiddushay ties. Where the Kiddushin was a mistaken Kiddushin. Shafilu, but no, even if her son is on her shoulder, meaning she already had a child, she can walk away from the marriage. Meaning, because if there was a mekach tois, she married the guy said, I'm a nice guy. Ended up being, the guy was a jerk. So she gets a psak mekach tois. How could she walk away without a get? That means that all her bias, and she has a child already, that means that all her bias would be as nus. So we say, yes, it's still, the husband would be willing to say, waive the marriage, waive the kedushin, and the bia is not going to be a bias nus, right? Meaning that, yeah, we're going to retroactively say that it's not, there was nothing going on here, right?
Or are you saying nothing? What do you mean nothing going on?
Meaning she's allowed to just walk out of the marriage, and she doesn't need a get.
So we're saying nothing going on, meaning that they never had bia?
What?
Nothing going on, meaning they never had bia?
They had the bia, but it wasn't a bia snus. Meaning a guy makes a marriage. I'm sorry, I said it in one way as a mistake, but the pasha, the guy made a tanai. He married her and said, by the way, I'm taking you to the Yankee game. Okay, he's not on the bar. I'm getting married to you, I'm taking you to the Yankee game. They have a kid, and he never takes her to the Yankee game. So now what? What should she do? Can she walk out of the marriage? And then she was mezana with somebody. Right? She was mezana with somebody. Now she wants to walk out of the marriage. Yeah. Now, so was she married or not? Can she? Meaning now, she decides, okay, I wasn't married to the first guy. He didn't keep the Tanai of taking me to the Yankee game. Yeah. Can she go back to the first husband? I should
wait. So then she had that kid so how did she have a kid?
She got married to a guy. The guy said, I'm taking to Yankee games. She got married to him. She even had a kid.
She had a kid, and he never took her to the Yankee game.
Then she was mezana with somebody. Right?
Okay.
She was mezana with somebody. Then she decides, you know what? The guy's never taking me to the Yankee game, so I'm out. Does she need a get now? So if you say she needs a get, then she could never go back to the first husband. If you just say she doesn't need a get, so she was never married to the first husband. Right? So this that she slept with the second guy was nothing. Right? This that she slept with the second guy was nothing. So therefore, she can go back to him. Right?
Okay, in this case, she'll get Malchus for Lycia Kadesha. In this case, in this particular case, she'll be Lycia Kadesha. I don't know how that works.
Right? So yeah, so I'm gonna have Yehuda Hani. That's it. Yeah. Fine. Okay, we got a few more minutes. Whoever's not on anymore is already going to be Kabbalah Shabbos, so I guess we could go. Okay, so I'm going to review the Hani Nashi, the Ganvu Ganve. You have these women who were stolen. Yeah, so Shari and the Gavrayu, they're able to go back to their husbands. I mean, we see these ladies when they're kidnapped, they're in captivity, but they're bringing these guys bread. So obviously, they're very happy with their relationship with these kidnappers, who are not their husbands. So we say machmas yira, they're only giving bread because they're scared. They help them with their arrows. Machmas yira, also because of yira. So the Gemara says, Vadai shavkinu ba'azam benafshayu. If they would leave them and go to the husbands, they would, meaning if they would let them and say, okay, go home. The kidnappers would say, well, we're releasing you, go home. And they don't. And they can go by themselves, then asirin. I'm sorry. They go back to the kidnappers, meaning they're happier with the kidnappers, like out of the movies, right? The kidnappers take the lady, and then the lady decides she's happy with the kidnappers. So then obviously she's awesome. People that
why is there such a vadai?
What do you mean? Why are they going back?
I mean, I can picture a case where that would happen.
Why?
A case where Yamach Shimon, the Nazis, they said, yeah, run across the field, we'll let you go. And they shot the first half dead, and the other half came back.
I'm so happy Ramarin is not on.
Why? Yep, me too.
What are you bringing in the Nazis for? Bottom line is, listen, there is something called, I forgot what it's called, it's some sort of syndrome.
Nightingale syndrome, and there's all kinds of them, yeah.
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm, yeah, that's the one I was thinking of, not Nightingale. Yeah.
You say, so you want to say she's an Einus just like the previous Gemara?
I think that's what the previous Gemara was saying, Stockholm syndrome. That was Amud Shmuel.
I hear you.
Or Rava, whatever, whichever one you want to go with, but yeah.
All right.
But there are scenarios where a person would go back. It looks like they're choosing to go back, but it's really Masmasira. Unless that's included in this. That's not considered choosing to go back.
Right. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, well, it's late. So it's a Torah about Shvuya Malchus or Enke Shvuya. Captures from the Malchus. Now Rashi says it's women that the king captured in order to sleep with them. Right? Genuve listais einen keshvuyin. But if they're captured by listais, I don't know what the blushing is listais. But that list, it should be listim, no? Einen keshvuyin, they're not considered like shvuyin. Right?
I think it's listus. The idea of robbery as opposed to malchus.
I guess it's the same thing, but I don't know why.
It's not listos, not female robbers. It's the idea
I understand it's not female robbers. I just don't know why it's not. Yeah, I mean, by the way, you understand the mussar of this whole thing, that you could be such a movable, you're the king, right? You think you can get women to sleep with you willingly, right? But Elamai, you can get so much sugar with the desire that even that doesn't satisfy you, right? And you got to be busy running after trapping women. Either way, so Gemara says for Malchus, they're like Shvuyin, and they're both to go back to the husbands, but listless, they're not like Shvuyin, and they're also to go back. For Tanya Ifra, we learned the price of the opposite. So Gemara says Malchus and Malchus like Kasha. Haba Malchus Achashverosh. One is talking about Malchus Achashverosh. Haba Malchus Ben Netzer. And what is talking about the Malchus of Ben Netzer? That's not Nebuchadnezzar, right? Meaning by Achashverosh, there was a hope of what do you call it? By Achashverosh, there was a hope that there was going to be marriage, right? I'm sorry, by Achashverosh, it was not marriage. Yeah. He was Tamam and Novel. So Mamela, they didn't have any happiness. But Ben Netzer, they thought maybe, yeah. Listus and listus like Kasha. And the listus and listus is not a Kasha, the armed robbers. How about Ben Netzer? One is talking about like Ben Netzer, where she might think he may marry her. So therefore she might be willing at some point. How about listim da alma? And one is talking about listim da alma. So Gemara says, Ben Netzer, awesome karele melech, karele listim. What, make up your mind. Is Ben Netzer a king or is Ben Netzer listim? So in Gabi Achashverosh, listim. If you compare him to Achashverosh, they're considered like robbers. Gabi listim da alma, but like regular robbers, melechu, they are considered kings, right? So therefore, it's just a matter of which perspective you put it in, right? Yeah. Okay, we'll stop here.
This is the same answer as Stummy that we had a couple days ago.
Shabbos. What do you say?
This is the same answer as Stummy that we had a couple days ago. Stam Chatzer Dida is Lalun, and Stam Chatzer Didei, the two diukim from the Mishna.
Right.
Same idea. Beginning of the week and the end of the week.
I hear. All right, I'm saying. It's a hard, these are hard things.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yashikayach.
Shkoyach. Have a good Shabbos, everyone. See you Sunday.
Good Shabbos.
All right, have a good Shabbos. Sei gesund.
Yeah, you're not going to be on Shabbos, Rafe, huh?
I can't.
Hey,
you're on, Gershon? Nah.
What? I'm on. We just about make it.
Yeah.
Matzah Shabbos is a minute before Shir.
I usually skip Havdalah when I'm able to, and then hit the Shir.
I have to do that. Yeah.
Not anymore. It's Shabbos though.
It's way too early. Yeah.
But when I'm in Florida, hopefully it'll be easier. I hope I see you at the Chasa now.
I'm not going to be there. I don't think so, at least. When is it?
September 13th. It's a Tuesday.
No, I'm going to be in Phoenix, Mitzvah Shem.
Oh, okay.
Eliyahu Linkovic's making bar mitzvah that week. He's
very nice. Very nice.
Is this still being recorded? Yeah. No, he's flying me in to cater it.
Oh, awesome. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good Shabbos.
You too.